Basketball fans, welcome back. So right now, the Indiana Pacers are up 3-2 on the New York Knicks in the East Finals, and Tyrese Haliburton is on a tear. So today morning, I can say yesterday night, today morning, the Game 5 happened, and the New York Knicks stayed alive in Game 5, and they forced a Game 6. And the Indiana Pacers, being led by Tyrese Haliburton, only need one game to be able to make it to the NBA Finals so that they can match up against the Oklahoma City Thunder, who closed out the Minnesota Timberwolves in 5. So Tyrese Haliburton is a player that I've been observing very close, especially in this regular season and this season especially, and the postseason as well. And he's proven to be one of the best swingmen in the NBA right now, and he's forming the new age of players who are taking over the NBA, and they're going on to do great things, especially in the postseason. So Tyrese Haliburton, he was in the Sacramento Kings. I remember I took note of him that he got traded to the Indiana Pacers. But if you look at Tyrese Haliburton, he's a player that a lot of people, especially in the mainstream media and fans, call him overrated. I mean, we had even Wale Zabiak saying that he's a wannabe fake All-Star and he's able to prove him wrong, and he made the All-Star team. I mean, Tyrese Haliburton has been on an absolute tear, especially when it comes to proving the haters wrong. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about the at point in time where Tyrese Haliburton begged the Chicago Bulls to draft him in 2020, but the franchise went in a different direction. So that was a massive L for the Chicago Bulls. And Tyrese Haliburton felt he'd be a great fit for the Bulls, but the front office thought otherwise. So Chicago Bulls right now are eating a lot of crow. And we're going to look at even a post that was made at the time by the diehard Chicago Bulls fans. And they made this post with reference to what Tyrese Haliburton had to say at that time. So the Chicago Bulls have been in the midst of the most mediocrity for about a decade now, but things might have been different today had they not made this big mistake in 2020. So the Bulls had the fourth pick, and a certain Tyrese Haliburton was very keen to be drafted by them. So Tyrese Haliburton, he came out and said this: I think I fit well with Chicago, with two guards in Kobe and Zach that can score at a high level. I can come in right away and be somebody that can take the burden off them and facilitate whatever is needed in Chicago for any organization for that matter. I'm ready to do. And the place that was highlighted was whatever is needed. And Chicago, they have never been able to find that magic after Michael Jordan. They had a short stint with Derrick Rose before he tore his ACL. They had, multiple chances in, doing a very good rebuild so that they can be able to put themselves in a position to contend. But this one was the biggest L because they passed up on Tyrese Haliburton. And if you look at Tyrese Haliburton, what he's been able to achieve right now, this is his second Eastern Conference Finals trip. And when I saw this, it was very interesting. So Tyrese Haliburton will be a very good fit next to a scoring guard like Zach LaVine. But unfortunately, the Chicago Bulls went in a different direction. They selected Patrick Williams, who hasn't exactly set the stage on fire. And you could see right now, because Williams averaged 9 points, 3.8 boards, 2 assists, 0.8 steals, and 0.5 blocks per game in this season while shooting measly 39.7% from the field. So they had given him a 5-year, $90 million deal in 2024 and is now viewed as one of the worst contracts in the NBA. So you can see Patrick Williams is a flop, and they passed out on Tyrese Haliburton so they can get Patrick Williams, who has laid a dud on them. So the Bulls just went 39-43 this season and missed out on the playoffs for the third year in a row. You wonder where they will be when they took a chance on Tyrese Haliburton. And man, I mean, it's very sad because while you can criticize the Bulls for picking Williams and giving him that deal, you can't be too hard on them for passing up on Tyrese Haliburton. A total of 11 teams passed up on Haliburton on that draft, but the Sacramento Kings selected him with the 12th pick. Where there were concerns about Tyrese Haliburton's athleticism. His shot wasn't the best, and there are a lot of things that went into the Chicago Bulls passing up on him because he went number 12 in the 2020 NBA draft, and 11 teams passed up on Tyrese Haliburton. And honestly, that was the biggest L that any team will have done at that point. So the Golden State Warriors head coach Steve Kerr was one of the few who believed Haliburton's jumper would work in the NBA, and that didn't mean the Warriors, who had the second pick, would select him because they went with James Wiseman. So I mean, though, uh, the potential was there, and I can even say Tyrese Haliburton entered the same way as a Kawhi Leonard. So when he joined, he didn't. Okay, for the difference between him and Kawhi Leonard joined. He got drafted by the Pacers, but he was traded to the Spurs, and he had Greg Popovich, who was able to fix his shot, and he was able to go ahead and become one of the best players in the NBA. But it was a very huge mistake in passing up on Tyrese Haliburton, especially the 11 teams that went ahead and did not draft him. The Sacramento Kings went ahead and got Tyrese, and they didn't understand they got a gem, and they fumbled it and they flipped him for Sabonis, and I mean just about it. So it was a huge mistake. So Tyrese Haliburton had no hard feelings of the Warriors passing up on him. I mean, the Warriors were not passing up on James Wiseman anyway, so he knew as well as they were not going to draft him that high in the draft board. What Haliburton did take offense to, though, was that the Detroit Pistons selected Killian Hayes instead of him. So you can even see not only the Chicago Bulls blunder, but also the Detroit Pistons. I mean, they didn't even take a chance on Tyrese Haliburton, and they're eating crow right now. I mean, they've had a very good regular season and postseason. I mean, they're able to win their first game in a long time. The last time the Detroit Pistons were in the playoffs was 2019, then this year. And they're being helped by Cade Cunningham. So, I mean, it was a sad situation. So he even came out and said this, Tyrese Haliburton. So he said, with the Pistons, I knew they needed a point guard. I already felt like I was the best point guard in the draft because on ESPN, it had like the top players available, 1, 2, and 3, and it was Anthony Edwards, James Wiseman, and LaMelo Ball. So after that, I'm the number one best available, and every pick after that is panning the camera in my room, flashed up Killian Hayes, and I'm like, what? In the moment, I was just angry, and I was like, they need a point guard, and they're not picking me. So that one definitely felt more personal, no question. So you can even see, even the way the media and the way like the teams went ahead and just passed up on Tyrese. Right now, they're just eating crow right now. So considering Hayes most recently played for the long-standing Island Nets in the G League, it's safe to say that the Pistons made a big mistake on that one. Looking back at that draft, Haliburton is probably the second best player of his class after Anthony Edwards. Looking at what these two guys have been able to do, they've been able to lead their teams into multiple conference finals appearance. Anthony Edwards, 2 Western Conference finals, the toughest conference in basketball in the West. You could see Anthony Edwards has taken the mantle and been able to eliminate all of our favorite stars. And if you look at Tyrese Haliburton, this is the second time, and he's on the brink of winning. And there's only one game away. So while so many teams made a mistake by passing up on Tyrese Haliburton, one might argue that the biggest one was made by the team that drafted him. So the Sacramento Kings, of course, traded him to the Indiana Pacers in 2022. For quite a while, it was viewed as a win-win trade as the Kings got Domantas Sabonis, but that's no longer the case because the Sacramento Kings are going on a full-on rebuild. They traded away De'Aaron Fox, and they just blew up that core. So Tyrese Haliburton has the Pacers 1 win away from getting into the NBA Finals, and he's a 2-time All-Star and had 32 points per game, on 12 rebounds and 15 assists, and 4 steals in Game 4 of the East Finals against the New York Knicks, and he helped them capture that 3-1 lead. So you could see not only the Chicago Bulls fumble it, Chicago Bulls, Detroit Pistons, and the team that drafted him in the Sacramento Kings. So 3 teams did not believe in a Tyrese Haliburton, and look at what Tyrese is being able to do for the Indiana Pacers. The man has brought in so much relevance, more relevance than even what PG did for the Pacers. And this is not a knock to Paul George, but all I'm just saying is Tyrese Haliburton in this stretch between last year and this year has been able to put the Pacers in the most success, in the best possible situation of making it to the NBA Finals. If Tyrese Haliburton is able to help the Kings, not really help the Kings, but in that period where he was, but he's able to help the Pacers in this situation. I mean, he's going to have superseded all the great players that have played for the Pacers. So, I mean, it is what it is. So, do drop me a comments down in the comment section down below. I mean, I was very surprised to see that this actually happened, because I saw this from Dehad's Chicago Bulls fan on Twitter, on X, Twitter formerly X, formerly Twitter. So I was surprised, because it will be a very different landscape if you saw Tyrese in a Bulls jersey. Maybe he might be that missing piece that the Bulls might have needed to be able to kickstart their new era, but it's unfortunate. I mean, some teams are very short-sighted. The Bulls took a gamble on Patrick Williams. They blundered. The Detroit Pistons, they blundered as well when they went ahead and got Killian Hayes in the draft over Tyrese Haliburton. And in the end, you could see there was no long-term plan for Tyrese Haliburton even to play in Sacramento, and they ended up trading him away for Domantas Sabonis. Short-term, the Sacramento Kings were able to not only get back to the playoffs but end their long drought, but that's where it ended. And if you look at the Pacers are one of those franchises that you just love to watch. And my God, they're just in the brink of making it to the NBA Finals and capturing that Eastern Conference Championship. And that's something that not many teams get to enjoy. I mean, there are teams that have not even been able to make a finals berth, and Tyrese Haliburton is one game away. The New York Knicks, if they don't force a Game 7, they're going to drop it in Game 6 in Indiana. And I'm hoping that the Pacers just close it out in 6 games. I don't want to see a Game 7, because anything can happen in Game 7. So it is what it is. So like, share, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, get notified, because I'm going to be releasing a ton of content of this nature. And I'm out. I'm going to see you guys in the next one. Peace out.